so we can get a nice close-up. Ow! Hot! Welcome back to the Silly Kitchen. Today I'm sharing with you a lovely little recipe featuring the acorn squash. We are doing a stuffed acorn squash. Bear with me, there is 2 parts to this recipe. First thing we gotta do is get right into it. Cut off the little end of the squash. Squash are always kind of fun to work with because they're tough, but they're perfect during the fall and the winter. They're very cheap. Maybe that's not the right word. Cost effective. And they're very delicious. And I think a lot of people don't know what to do when they see an acorn squash and they see these big piles of different types of squash in the grocery store. But I'm here to show you it can be very delicious. So I just cut the end off and I'm gonna split it as perfectly as possible and carefully as possible right in the middle. You're gonna notice there's some guts and seeds. We do need to scoop those out. And if you'd like to wash them and toast them up, you can do that. Otherwise, just get rid of them. Magically, I found a spoon. So all I do is take a spoon and just scrub, 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 and pull those babies out. And that's it. That's how you get all the squash nice and clean. So you have your 2 halves. Get yourself a baking tray. The first part of this recipe, because I'm only talking about the squash, is that we do need to roast the squash on its own without doing anything for about 30 minutes on 375 degrees in the oven. I place them downwards into the pan and just give them a ½ hour in the oven. That's it. While your acorn squash is roasting in the oven, this is a good time for you to prepare your stuffing. So you want to have some sausage meat. I actually already have some sausage crumble cooked up, so I was ready to go with that. We need some croutons, some dried cranberries. I'm using dried cranberries today, but you can use fresh. It was unfortunate. I wanted to use fresh cranberries, but the grocery store I went to didn't have any, so we are compromising with dried cranberries. ½ of an onion finely chopped, and 1 of your favorite apples. Whatever apple you like will work in this recipe. We do need some herbs in this recipe as well. I'm going to use fresh rosemary. I love it with this combination. Pull it off of the stems and just run your knife over it. When you have all of your ingredients prepared, we're going to head over to the stove top, get your frying pan nice and hot, and we're going to cook all of these ingredients together so that they are ready to go in the acorn when that comes out. We're going to start by cooking your sausage crumble. Pick your favorite sausage. I've already had mine pre-cooked, so I'm just warming it up, but you can start with raw sausage as well. Once your sausage is fully cooked, drop in your ½ diced onions. You're gonna wanna cook these onions down until they're nice and soft and translucent. As you're cooking out your onions and your pork, give it a nice sprinkle of pepper. Follow that up with your chopped herbs. We want to bring out all the flavor of that rosemary into the dish, so that's why I'm putting it in as the next ingredient. Give it a quick little mix. You can see the sausage is getting a nice crisp on it. All the flavors are coming together. Up next, let's throw in those croutons. We want to get those nice and soft. We want those cranberries as well as your favorite apple. Again, we're going to mix it up because we want the moisture of the sausage and flavors to soak into those croutons and let those apples and cranberries really bring everything together. You're cooking this on medium-high heat just for about 10 minutes or so. I've now taken the acorn squash out of the oven at the 30-minute mark and just flipped them over so that we're ready to stuff them with our stuffing. So I might not need my glove. I'm going to try to make sure I get a little bit of everything into these babies and fill your squash. You might want to push down a little bit because we want it to be overflowing a bit, and you want it nice and dense in there. Yee, almost time to eat it. Okay, here we go, here we go. So as you can see, my filling, stuffing is overflowing into the acorn squash here, and that is all right. We want that nice heaping amount. If you have a little bit of stuffing left, just eat it. Well, that's already so good. Okay, sorry. I got lost in the flavor there. That was delicious. These go back in the oven, still at 375, so hopefully you didn't turn off your oven, for another 15 minutes or so, until you know that everything is kind of melted in and the acorn squash is nice and soft. It's been another 10-15 minutes. I just kind of kept watch to see how the acorn squash looked on the outside, where you can see it's still below all that beautiful stuffing. You can tell it's done. You can kind of probably stick a fork in it and it'll be nice and soft, so you'll know. The tricky part I find of this recipe is getting it out of the pan and onto a plate, because it's hot. You want to eat it warm, but you don't want to burn your fingers or drop it sideways. Ow, 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 hot. So I'm trying to use, oh, there we go. I'm trying to use kind of like a spatula spoon thing and successfully move it over. Let's get the other one over there as well so we can get a nice close-up, ow, hot! A nice close-up shot of this before I put it all in my tubby. Oh boy, this screams cold weather comfort food to me. I'm so excited to dive into this. It has the sweet, the savory, the hearty. I'm ready to dive in. Simply grab your fork, dig into this, and eat all the way around the skin of the acorn. I'm sure I don't have to say this, but don't eat this dark green hard part. You're not gonna be able to chew through it. It's gonna be real hard to digest. So just ignore that part and scoop in and out. I'm ready to go scoop. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by the Silly Kitchen. I hope to see you here again soon.